En una de las buenas conversaciones que tuvimos en los últimos años, en el archivo Sonar destacamos nuestra interacción con Tom Morello. Podríamos decir que es un amigo de la casa por la cercanía que él siente con Chile. Hablamos sobre la importancia, lejos de cualquier cliché, del público chileno en el debut y única presentación a la fecha Rage Against the Machine, el involucramiento del rock en causas políticas y por supuesto las aspiraciones y estímulos que mantienen a Tom Morello sumamente activo en la órbita rockera. Disfruten como nosotros el archivo Sonar con Tom Morello.
Hey there, this is Tom Morello, and you're listening to Radio Sonar, the official radio station of Rage Against the Machine and Tom Morello throughout Chile. Yes, very exciting. I mean, one of my favorite places to play on the planet is Chile. Some of my favorite shows that I've ever performed with Rage and with Prophets of Rage have been in Santiago. Um, the collaborations that I've made with Ana Tijoux and stuff. It's like I can't wait to come back and some of my first one of my first ever solo shows after the pandemic is going to be in Chile, and I'm very much looking forward to it. It's been a long time, but we're going to make up for it. It looks a lot like that. I mean, there's the Chilean people have been inspirational to me kind of throughout my life. From the resistance to fascism. When I was a kid, to the music of Victor Hara, who's all that's been very very meaningful to me as as one of my musical and political heroes. To the enthusiasm and the love and solidarity that's shown by fans on every one of my trips there. This will be a very very special evening for me, and I'm very very grateful for those decades of support, and we're gonna have a great celebration of resistance on that night. Yeah, there are always bands, certainly within the world of punk music and stuff, and there are always bands that have uh, issues of combating injustice on their minds and in their songs. They may not be at the top of the charts. That's a thing in this day and age where a lot of musical emphasis is on a 15-second TikTok video or something like that. That doesn't leave a lot of room for discussion of the dialectic. Like but at the same time, I mean, the good news is that I can promise you on one night in Santiago that spirit will be alive and well. Yeah, well, I think Nova Twins are still a good candidate because they've got it all, man. Like they're a great band and have in a power and an enthusiasm and I mean they have a lot of things sort of in common with Rage Against the Machine. I think like they don't look like other bands. You know what I mean? They don't sound like it. They're unexpected in what comes out of them. There's another band called The Last International that I
Yeah.
like very much. Yeah, they're not they've been around for a little while, but they're another band that kind of wears their politics on their sleeve. But for the most part, I've been sort of concentrating on the music that I've been making during lockdown. I made two records and two EPs, and and so this will be an opportunity. Some of those songs have never been performed live until we hit Santiago. So it's a great opportunity to play that. But I also I'm going to be, I've made 22 albums of original music in my career, and I'm going to be drawing from every phase of that. The Rage riffs, the Audio Slave riffs, the Prophets of Rage riffs, the Street Sweeper riffs, Bruce Springsteen, the Ghost of Tom Joad will be represented. I want to do something that is I'm curating a set list that has all the elements from the different touchstones, but is very contemporary and in the moment. Like this is a solo, show of mine, and so there's going to be a lot of guitar playing at the forefront. Yeah, it's a great band who's very very flexible and can play just about anything. So I just made the set list the other day, so we're going to start rehearsals next week and get it together. But I'm looking for like the Atlas Underground records. Like none of that stuff has ever been performed live, so we're gonna dig into that. Well, I mean, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has its strengths and its weaknesses. One of its strengths is that it is a place that takes very seriously the history of rock and pop and hip hop, et cetera, in a way that honors it, in a way that gives it justice. One of the downsides of it is they don't let in enough acts every year to represent all of the great music that deserves to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Jane's Addiction, of course, is, well, I mean, like, you can go on and on. There's like, across many genres, there are a number of acts that need to be let in. That's, I'm actually on the committee that helps make the ballots every year. So I'm always in that room fighting for a wider funnel to let more deserving artists in.
What do you feel has been the most unusual omission from that ceremony, from that event, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
I'm sorry, the most what?
The most unusual omission.
Unusual. Well, the most unusual omission used to be heavy metal, period, and hard rock bands. I was on tour with Bruce Springsteen and his manager, John Landau, one of the guys who runs the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I was like, I would complain to him in every hotel lobby that, like, I'm a huge fan of rock and roll, and I don't like your Hall of Fame. Like, you were, because none of my favorite bands are in it. Or very few of my favorite bands are in it. So they actually let me they put me in the room. And since then, we've gotten in Rush and Kiss and Stevie Ray Vaughan and Judas Priest and, an entire genre of music, which is very meaningful to people across the planet, that was underrepresented. So, I think that there's a lot, like, I think, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Tool, Jane's Addiction, Rage Against the Machine from that era all really should have a place there. Probably the one that surprised me the most was Bruce Springsteen, because I didn't grow up being a Bruce Springsteen fan, but once I became a Bruce Springsteen fan in my, late 20s, I realized sort of the depth of the artistry, and it really spoke to me. And then Bruce and I were like friends for 8 years before we ever played together. And so it was a lot of buildup to the first time we ever played the song "The Ghost of Tom Joad" in Anaheim in 2008. And the magic that happened on stage was like one of those instances where 1 + 1 = 45. And the chemistry that we had together and with the E Street Band was really incredible. And so then we played together over the course of the next 6 years, which was pretty great. So I would say that would be sort of top of the list. Was I had no idea what to expect, and it was well beyond my expectations. I mean, it's a disappointment for everyone. Fans around the world deserve to see Rage Against the Machine? Yes, they do. Do the times that we live in demand, to have that band back on the road? Of course they do. Personally, would I love to play 200 shows around the world? Of course I would. But there's sort of health issues. Zach ruptured his Achilles. Timmy has his thing. Everybody's doing better and doing well now. There are no current plans to do anything. And if there are, we'll be the first ones to tell you. And hopefully Chile will be one of the first stops on that list, because I would love to come back. I'm thrilled to come back, this, like, in a couple of months, but it would be great to come back with Rage as well. Well, the irony is that right before the tour, I was healing from a ruptured Achilles. Like, so I was on crutches at the beginning of the tour. So, like, I know what it's like. And then, I thought it was he did a great job, was very heroic in sticking it out for those shows. But also he was, in my view, he was just as compelling or more when he was just sitting on that box, concentrating on the vocals and his intensity and the passion and the commitment to the ideas in those songs was very, very powerful. And so, he's better than 99% of all frontmen, when he's got a ruptured Achilles. Yeah, well, we wanted to, we've only ever had like a red star behind us and some sirens wailing, and that was the totality of the production. But for this tour, we wanted to, we've done that tour many, many times. And so we wanted, in this modern era, to have something that was a sort of a poetic juxtaposition to the music. And you know, we worked with some very, very talented people who traveled around the world sort of filming that stuff. And I think that it was a really you know, I was honestly, I was a little scared to do something other than I know it works when we just have that red star behind us, but I thought that it was really powerful and compelling and added an extra artistic layer to the performance. Yeah, well, I would say, I mean, Rage is a unique creature. Like I've, you know, Rage has made 3 records of new material in 30 years. Rage has played 19 shows in the last 12 years. You know, like if it were up to me, we would have made 25 albums by now. We would play 200 dates a year. That's just how I'm built. Like I can't not create and cannot, like I must put out music, and I feel like the music and the mission are my life's work. And so, you know, making all the Atlas Underground records and going on this tour is what sustains me and feels like I'm contributing to the one displaying my artistic soul, but 2, contributing to the overall arc of fighting for social justice around the planet. Now, Rage has done its work. Those records are forever. And, you know, when you hear that music in the streets of protests, wherever they happen. The shows that Rage has played are legendary. You know, like those, if you were in a room seeing the band play in 2022 or in 1992, it's an unforgettable experience. So I just like, different bands have different chemistries and the ability to act. And with the thing that I've always thought was like, if Rage plays, it's great, and I'm excited to be a part of it. If Rage doesn't play, it's not going to stop me. I would say on the tour, like, you know, when we played last summer, a couple of songs that were the deeper cuts that really sort of came to the fore were our cover of Ghost of Tom Joad, which was just brutal, and the song Born of a Broken Man, which we played sometimes in the past, but that became a part of the set every night. It was really like a emotional kind of highlight. Yeah, I mean, there's an argument made by the British for Finsbury Park, but my vote is Santiago, Battle of Santiago 2010. I'm not going to argue that that was the best crowd in the history of Rage Against the Machine. I'm going to argue that was the best crowd in the history of rock music. Like it was like, I mean, there's video evidence to support that claim. And it was so mind blowing to be in that, because there was a lot of, I don't know if you remember, but at the time there was the miners were trapped in that mine. They were going to be like rescued. We all knew they were going to be freed the next day. So there was this kind of celebratory atmosphere. We performed a Victor Hara song that night on stage, you know, in the stadium. And having never played there, it was like nothing I've ever experienced before. Though let's see if we can try to top it in a couple of months. It would probably be Articles of Faith, the first Articles of Faith record with Vic Bondi and as the singer and lyricist, and Virus X. They're a Chicago band, and I remember they're the first hardcore band I ever saw live, and I just remember sort of the confrontational energy in the room. That the show was not about entertainment, and they were not playing for the audience. And at times they were almost like playing against the audience with both musically and a point of view that it felt like political debate was happening in the context of a punk show, of a rock show, you know what I mean? And I later, you know, became friends with those guys, and this seriousness with which they took their message was one that really resonated with me. So I'm going to go with Articles of Faith.